Hey followers, this is your boy, Movie Maker Doug 55. Welcome to another episode of Andy McPhee and I's joint series, Being Relentless and Unstoppable. Today we have a special guest, Sam Webb. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks so much, guys, for having me on. Dougie, thanks, Andy. I'm looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Doug, again. And also thanks, Sam, for making the time, because I know you're pretty busy at the moment. You are based in LA, but you're staying in Kentucky at the moment. And Doug, he's in Phoenix, so we're sort of spread all around the country a bit. First of all, just let everybody know how you and me met. It was just very quickly. I'm pretty sure it was through Matt Runnels, wasn't it?
Mate, it was through the mental
That's
health
right.
and suicide prevention stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So
And
now
then,
sorry, go on, Sam.
and then we obviously have our own mutual talents and hobbies and interests outside of the mental health workspace in acting and whatnot, mate. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So, the playlist with you, Mel and Matt and Troy is it's really a powerful little series, because you guys are sharing what you're doing and helping people who are struggling, and especially now, there's a lot of people not dealing too well with COVID, and I'm sure you're getting a lot of that come into your work as well. So, look, I'm going to hand it back to Doug, and he's going to, hit us off, and you're going to share your amazing achievements and what you're doing for people and how you're helping people, mate.
awesome. Let's do it.
So you're involved in the mental health industry then, like our previous guests, Matt and a few others?
Yeah, I am, mate. I am. I started a mental health charity back in 2013 after I lost a friend to suicide, and I've been relentlessly busy since, trying to make a difference and save other people's lives along the way.
Yeah, I have a history with mental health, but I've started to enjoy life again for the first time in a while. Very lately, I'm enjoying life again. And I had a hospitalization in 2014 that was when I was at a low point as far as that. But the good news is my autism has been better managed over the past few years.
Mate, that's amazing to hear. I'm glad that you sought the help that you deserved, and you're back on track right now, and you're enjoying life. And mate, it's great to hear, and I'm very excited about you, and I'm very excited about your journey.
That's
And look, the
great
thing
to
is
hear.
with Doug is that when I met him, he was right. He's been an author for quite a long time now. He started writing books in his teenage years. What we've developed over the last 5 or 6 years is his well-being, and just concentrating on, encouraging him to build up the skills he has, which is his, book writing and being an author. And it's incredible. That's why I decided to start this series, to share his journey. And now it's just growing with everybody else, like people like yourself that we're bringing on board. And Doug, one of his latest books is, I think it's around about 300 to 400, bestseller on Amazon
Yeah, wow,
internationally.
that's awesome, man.
So it's really
Yeah,
great. And I
Yeah,
think Doug was underplaying his health a bit there. He said, I'm far better now. He's smashing it, mate. He's 100% better. Like the stuff that he's doing during the day, his physical fitness, he's lost over 100 pounds in weight. He's training at the gym, and he's very, very powerful young man, very relentless. So,
that's a
um,
testament to your willpower and your strength and your determination, Doug, mate. So well done on the path to wellness. It's one that's very important, and it's one that I guess we can use this channel to empower other people to take.
yeah, it
yeah.
is. So, Sam, can you just give us a little bit of a journey of, what, growing up was like for you, and what was that big tree in the middle of the road that suddenly changed your life, and you had to make a choice to get around that?
Mm. Mate, I guess most of, like I'm one of five, so I've got one brother and a few sisters, three sisters, and an amazing family. My parents split when I was young, but they stayed connected. And I was into sports most of my life growing up. Obviously, tried my luck at drama at an early age, but it was sort of put to the back burner, so to speak, because we were heavily involved in sports, and I didn't really have many friends that were in the drama route. I didn't really pursue it so much at that age, but it was definitely something that I was interested in. And mate, I grew up. I was pretty, I'm
Yeah.
being very fortunate. I've been very lucky with the support that I've had in my life from family and close friends, and I'm very grateful for that. And
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your parental split. I went through one a few years back in 2016, so I know what that's like.
yeah, it's definitely not ideal. But my parents did the best to ensure that us kids were taken care of, and the
Yeah,
transition wasn't a bumpy one, so to speak. Although at times, it was pretty chaotic, and I was, I wasn't brought up in rags and and riches or anything like that, and I just went to state schools, and I started work at a very young age. I started working
yeah,
before the legal age in Australia because I had to make money and I had to look after myself because I couldn't rely on my family to look after me because they weren't hugely successful by any means, and they had a lot of their own stuff going on. So I mean, for me, I was pretty independent from a young age, and that sort of saw me, progress into making certain decisions in my life that, I went to high school. I did excel at high school, and I excelled in college thereafter. And, what I thought I wanted to pursue, I was pretty wrong. I studied a career in finance and accounting at university, and, I didn't really want to do that. I spent all this money and all this time at college, and later realized that wasn't what I really wanted to do. And it wasn't until, the death of my very good friend in 2013, Dwayne, that, my eyes sort of opened up to the world and what I needed for me to be able to live my best life. That was the real turning point in my life when Dwayne took his own life. And it was a fork in the road, and it was a big fork in the road. It wasn't easy, but with the help and support and being able to reach out and ask for help myself, I've been able to navigate around that, and I'm lucky where I am today with being able to do what I do.
that's incredible, man. No other way to
Mm.
put it. And not only that, but my parental split was bumpy in 2016, but my parents did the best they could to make the transition easier, which I really appreciated.
And it makes a big impact, when you're a young person going through that stuff. You think at the time that it's not affecting you, but in your subconscious, it really does affect you, at some stage. So you've got to deal with it. You've got to work with it and speak about it. But everything that we do, and in Dwayne's honor, we started living so that other people in Australia and around the world, weren't suffering in silence with mental health challenges. And we wanted to use a platform through merchandise and fashion and education to inspire people to speak up and reach out for help when they need it, because everyone deserves help. And Doug, you mentioned earlier just before that, you sought help and you were hospitalized, and you're on a track now, and you're on a path to living really well and healthy, between
Yeah,
the mirrors. That's important.
not only that, but one of the funny things about my hospitalization was I had to go through rehab because what led to my hospitalization was a mental breakdown. And they did vigorous tests on me during rehab to make sure that I was in the right frame of mind to go back home. And one of the tests I had to pass was I had to, as one of my tasks, I had to lead a group of people on like a tram tour of the Phoenix area. And I was like the tour guide. And they tested me and my temper by having one of the kids, without me knowing, intentionally pull the emergency brake to
Oh,
try to
wow.
build, because as time goes on you get irritated by it, especially if
Mm.
it's not an emergency. And because I didn't lose my temper with the guy, they passed me for the test.
Oh, that's amazing,
Ah,
man. How
Well,
good's
I'm not
that?
kidding
That's a
you.
great
That
little
was one of
story.
their tests. Having one of the kids intentionally pull the brake rope without
That would
me
have been
knowing.
so annoying. That would have been so annoying. You handled yourself. You
that's
handled yourself well,
that's
Doug.
that's amazing. Yeah, well, that's awesome, Doug. Which must have been great for you when you found out they were, purposely doing that.
Yeah,
And
when I was told afterwards, I was sort of relieved that that kid was not a misfit.
Right.
I
hey,
thought he
listen,
was.
Sam. I got a question for you. I
Go,
was
mate.
going to ask you this anyway, but you brought it up. You said, with all the things you're doing with your non-profit, and the word you used was inspire. And we were having a discussion about this word the other day. And I think if I heard you correctly, you said you're inspiring people through, merchandise and podcasts. Inspiration is one thing, because I can watch a cooking show on TV and be so inspired by the amazing skills of a chef. But unless I actually get up and do something and go, wow, that's cool, I'm going to take some action and get those recipes, and I'm going to go and buy the right food and clear my cupboards out of junk, and I'm going to start cooking healthier food. Or I can be inspired by someone who's gone through a tough journey and think, well, you know what, my journey's been rough, but it's not as rough as theirs. So I need to take some action and stop making excuses for where I'm making excuses. So what I'm getting at is the word inspiration is okay, but it can also be a little bit entertaining. Being inspired is one thing, but actually taking action, to whatever is required in your life, that's another. So the two words really must go together if you want to make changes in your life. Do you agree with that?
Mate, I do agree with that. Absolutely. I feel like through the power of merch at the moment, and through storytelling, things like podcasts, blog stories, sharing people's journeys, it inspires people and empowers people. I probably should have said, to be able to make a change in their own life, through healthier habits and healthier routines. And that's what living's all about. It's about improving people's mental health, because
Yeah,
we all sit on a mental health continuum, and it's important that we acknowledge the people that are doing really well, and we acknowledge the people that are struggling, and that we're all human, and with the right level of support and the right level of help, we can get back on track to living a very healthy life again. And as Doug's alluded to earlier, I think it's a testament to the work that he's put in to get to the place where he's at right now, and that does come through, being inspired, but also to be empowered, to be able to take that step to say, all right, I need to make a difference. I need to make a change for whether it's myself or the people that I love or the people that care about me.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
and
up,
that's
just to follow up what you said about that, one of the big changes I made during my rough spot a few years back was changing the way that I did social media. Due to circumstances that you can read about in this book, I hurt my image on social media because of a variety of circumstances. And what happened was, when I visited my hometown of Estes Park, Colorado, after leaving it to come to Arizona, I saw some of my former schoolmates at an event at my former school district that I attended. And because of the mistakes I made on social media, some of them weren't happy to see me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was happy to see them, but they didn't reciprocate, as you say. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what led me to finally change my ways of doing social media.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah,
the
thanks
thing
for
is,
sharing.
inspiration, like it's wonderful. We've got to be inspired. Uh, but I'm sure you see it, Doug, and I'm sure you see it, Sam, in your world and I see it with coaching. It's it it's one thing to inspire people, and that's what we're about. We really want people to be inspired by watching this series, but we also want people to, take a look at where they are in life and use that inspiration to create their own future, create their own way of
Mm.
being every day. And you don't have to be wanting to be a social media guru or someone who wants to create a business that earns millions of dollars. You might simply be very happy in the job you're doing, whether it's a 9 to 5. You may be happy at, if you're at home, not wanting to work. The housewife, so to speak, and a mum looking after children. Some women don't want to be in the workforce. They're inspired by looking after their children and just, having a great, happy home life. And other women or men, they want to get out and do other things and create new ways of being. Or some men want to be the home hubby. They want to be home looking after the kids, and the wife will be out having a career. So it really doesn't matter what you want to do, as long as you're got an inspiring life for yourself and the people around you, and the actions you're taking are creating that. And I think there's something I heard years ago where people will go and watch. So you can go and watch a movie and go, oh man, that was so inspiring. But then you go back home and you're
and do the
back
same stuff. Yeah.
Everyday life again.
Yeah. I think enough inspiration though gets to a point where you feel empowered. I think, they're very different. I think they're very different things, but I feel like without one you can't have the other. I feel like
exactly.
being empowered to make a behavioral change has to come from being inspired in some way, shape or form to get to the place where you feel empowered to do that. Inspiration by itself is not enough. But it's certainly an ingredient that goes into making a difference, or it's an ingredient that can go into the process of being empowered to then making a different change in your life, whether it's social media, whatever it is. A habit change might be getting up earlier instead of getting up late, or going to bed earlier. You know what I mean? So, and it's all behavioral changes, which then lead on to habits. And, the healthier our habits, the better our health will be.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm coaching quite a few people at the moment, and even in Doug's world, we were talking about, walking. Well, when he had a sugar addiction, which he'll tell you about in a second. And, I was encouraging him. He made the changes. My role is to just encourage him to make sure, we had a couple of conversations where he wasn't having a good day, trying to get rid of the sugar. So I can't make anyone do anything, but as a coach, a mentor, you can encourage and inspire them to see what will happen once you take that action. And Doug did it, man. He went from 310 pound down to 210 pound, which was amazing.
Incredible, man. That is incredible.
Yeah, to tell you a little bit about
man,
that.
That's huge. That's great.
Yeah, to tell you a little bit about that. In 2016, when my parental divorce was in the process, I got depressed after a very crappy senior year that I had. And I graduated successfully, but there were hurt feelings on both sides of both my school and myself, And what happened was I turned to sugar and soda to make me feel better. And the result was, over the course of a year, I ballooned from weighing like 230 pounds to like 310. And not only that, but my soda addiction was actually technically lifelong. In fact, when my family and I visited Andy McPhee for a period of time in 2013, back when my brother was coaching with him, Andy was telling me at one point, you need to not have a sugar or soda addiction. Like, he said that to me when I first met him. And then when I started coaching under him, I began looking for ways to get off the sugar addiction and the soda addiction. And although it took a couple years of trying, I eventually gave it up this year. And with help from Andy, I started exercising and bodybuilding, like through his coaching. I've started bodybuilding and walking and drinking lots of water. And now I've lost literally 70 pounds or so since I started.
That is a job extremely well done. And you should never underestimate the amount of time and energy that goes into making behavioral changes and habit changes like that, mate. So well done to you. And
Yeah,
it's
he did an
making
amazing
a
job.
difference. It
And
is.
again, he's being modest. I think he's dropped down nearly 100 pound, and he wants to drop probably another 20. Maybe maybe even 30 to get to about 190. But
It's
it
not
all
easy,
takes
man. It's
time.
not easy. Yeah, it takes time, and this
It takes
stuff's not
time.
easy. It's not easy at all, mate. So congratulations on turning that all around and setting yourself some great goals so that you can work towards, and you
Yeah.
yourself
Hey,
accountable,
Andy,
mate. That's
you
great.
remember that meeting we had in 2013 when I first met you back when you were coaching with my brother?
I certainly do.
Do you remember telling me that, that I needed to give up my soda addiction?
I certainly do. And look what you did, mate. So many years later, and that's part of this series. Is sometimes we think we can do things overnight, but nothing. It doesn't matter. It's just not a fact. Nothing happens. What can happen overnight is taking the action and the habits, like you were talking about, Sam, and what you did, Doug. And we were listening to something yesterday, and again,
Baby
it was a,
steps.
a podcaster speaking about motivation. And again, she was saying that, look, motivation's okay, but motivation is, again, it's its own little part. It's part one or part two. Nothing's going to change by being motivated. Again, the motivation's got to lead to that big word action. Like, action's got to follow your inspiration, your motivation, and that action, like you said, Sam, has got to create new habits. The healthier you are, the more inspired and motivated you are to do the things you want to do, because
Yeah, that's true too. Because like, I guess I guess the hardest thing about creating a new habit is really starting it, and starting baby steps to break the current habits that you've got, which might be unhelpful. Drinking
yeah,
soda, for example, might be an unhelpful habit. And then setting yourself goals and expectations to how to break that habit to create new, healthier habits. And it doesn't happen overnight. Like you said, Andy, it's one thing to do little baby steps, but doing them often. And that's what adds up to make a difference in your behavior, so that you can
oh,
start making changes in your
100%.
life. You can have motivation, you can have inspiration, you can be empowered. But at the end of the day, it's only you that can make that difference. I can't put a gun to someone's head right now and say, if you don't stop drinking soda and sugar, like,
Yeah,
we're done here. Like, you've got to take that step within yourself. And that's why I applaud Doug, on that journey, because it sometimes can sound easy, but it's a very, very hard task to do. So well done.
Yeah, and
yeah, it is. It
withdrawal
is.
really sucked.
The what?
The withdrawal period.
Yeah, I bet it did. And it's
Hey,
like,
Sam, can you just share with us, like, what your program and what your non-profit assist people with who are dealing with mental health, and the dark holes people can drop down into? Like, share a bit about that, so that we get that out on air, and where people can contact you if they need, or what actions they can take if they're not feeling okay.
sure. I mean, if anyone wants to reach out to us and follow the health initiative, it's livin.org, livin.org. So I guess at the end of it all, one thing I didn't have growing up, Andy, Doug, was education around health and well-being outside of myself. I was pretty self-aware, so I knew a little bit about myself, and I was fortunate enough about that. Again, I grew up with a very supportive family, but not everyone had that. But going to
Yeah,
school, myself, my peers, teachers, no one was having conversations around health and well-being, how to look after yourself if you're in a shitty time or in a rut. How can you practice self-care? What are some self-care strategies that you could practice if you're having a really bad day? Really simple things like going for a walk, or reading a book, or listening to some music, or ringing up a friend, or dropping a text to someone that might need your help just to check in with them. These are all things that can help you help someone else, right?
Yeah.
But none of that was taught to me growing up. And we realized that after losing our friend, we needed to start a program where we can deliver really simple, basic, just mental health education into schools all around Australia, as well as workplaces, where we can increase people's mental health knowledge and understanding, so that people can live healthier and live happier. And if people are struggling with a mental illness, whether you're listening to this or not, it's about being proactive and recognizing warning signs and symptoms and knowing that, I don't think I am right based on this education. Maybe I am best to go and seek help and speak to a doctor or ask help of my family or my friends. And then maybe that will put me in a direction of getting the help that I need to get back on track to start living a great life again, because we can all get better and we all sit on the mental health continuum. And it's just about trying to be proactive and get the help sooner rather than later, because like anything, if you let something spiral, it's going to take a lot longer for it to get back to the spot where it needs to thrive. Whereas if you were just dipping and then you realized, oh yeah, I'm slowly, I know I'm having a really bad week, I need to do something that makes me feel better, so there's a big difference there. But in a long story short, you can reach out to us at livin.org. We deliver very simple, basic mental health workshops into schools and workplaces around increasing people's education around this conversation.
Yeah, that's great, Sam. Can you just let the viewers know a little bit about how you educated yourself to pass on correct information for people?
Yeah, I guess
because it's
a good question. I mean, I certainly haven't just whipped this out of my backside and thinking it's great. I think what we need to acknowledge here is, science informs decisions, and, mixing science with lived experience and personal journeys is what Living's been based off, as are the programs and as are everything that we practice and preach through Living, whether it's merch, community or education programs. And then, for me personally, I read a lot. When I was having my challenging times in life, I like to better understand what it is I'm dealing with instead of being surprised by it. I like to have a little bit more control over what I'm dealing with. So I wanted to figure out what it was, what it meant. And the more I learn about it, the more I understood that, with help and, training, like you do in the gym or like you do as a life coach, you can get those muscles really strong. And they can be unbreakable. Like I've worked on my mental health for the past 7 years really well. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's been perfect, man. I've had some times where it's been really hard, especially recently, having coronavirus. I mean, it rocked me, but I had some really good tools. And although some of them didn't work as they used to work, I was able to navigate around that.
You were diagnosed with COVID?
Yeah, mate, I had COVID.
Oh, so did you heal?
Yeah, mate, I healed. I'm back. I'm fit. I'm as fit now as I've ever been. I'm probably fitter than I've ever been.
Yeah, and honestly, there were probably some times this year where I probably did contract COVID, but I think my body, because of the decisions I've made with healthy eating and bodybuilding, I think that helped me fight it off if I had it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. It's just about practicing health and well-being, having a good balance, and that's all it's really come down to for me.
And so what you just said then, and what Doug was talking about with health, there's another young guy, Tyson Jarvis. He's on the playlist there. Tyson's just a guy I started coaching years ago for acting, and when we started working, he shared this. I said to him within minutes, I said to him, look, mate, we're ready to start the acting coaching, but I'm sort of picking up from you, there's something not right. May I ask what that is? He goes, no. He said, I'm good. I said, well, I got to disagree with you. You're not, because even though we were coaching face to face, I said, there's something not right with your energy. And we're actually doing it over the internet. And anyway, he opened up and said, I've just broken up with my girlfriend. And he said, it's really put me in a dark spot. I said, yeah, no, I can feel the weight of you. So long story short, he was actually in a very bad situation, like suicidal. I didn't realize it was that serious, but opening up, talking. And I said to him, look, I'm definitely no expert in how to guide you out of that. But the thing I'd like to suggest is, if you need help, you've got to get it. But let's start with this. Let's start getting you out of bed early. You're eating shitty foods. Stop eating, throw them out. Just get rid of them and, start buying some healthy food. Get your mum to, go shopping with you and change your diet and get back in the gym. And we started also doing a lot of poetry, reading, writing, working on the creative skills. So having done all that, and this may not work for everybody, but I know it's worked for a high percentage of people I've worked with. Now, like I'm talking maybe 5 years later, he's brought his own home. He's getting married. He's still writing scripts and scenes. I'm actually going to be working on a film with another one of his partners next year. They're flying me back to Australia. He's got his own studio at home. He trained. He eats healthy. He was doing 3 jobs by the time his fitness started getting better when we were coaching. And he just killed it. It wasn't easy. It was very hard. He didn't have much social time, but he was as fit as we say in Australia, as a mallee bull. And now his life's changed around. So does that work for everybody? No, maybe not. You may need professional support. But as you said, Sam and Doug, and I know myself, if you change your habits and grind your teeth through doing them, whether it's getting out of bed early, not having that donut or not having that extra serve of dessert, like leave it alone. Just don't do it. Have it maybe one day a week, a little bit here and there. Your whole well-being will change, and your habits will help you create new things in your life. As I said before, whatever that is you want, it's possible to create it.
Yeah. And when Andy and I started coaching, he asked me the same thing. He was like, "What's wrong?" And I didn't want to mention it at first, but then he told me, "You're never going to feel better until you get whatever you're upset about off your chest." And that's how we started.
Very important, man. Absolutely.
And that's what you're doing, Sam, with people. You're taking your non-profit is a diet of helping people lose the weight of the heaviness they're carrying around. So, you know, everything actually intertwines with everything. Whether you're on a diet to lose weight or you're on a diet to increase muscle size, it's the same with mental health. You're on a diet to get rid of the heaviness and create more happiness and well-being
100%.
in your life. So it's all the same, you know.
100%, man. 100%. Fully agree, guys. Absolutely.
Well, look,
Alrighty.
Sam, we're heading out of time now, and Doug's going to take us out. But yeah, look, we'll put all your details up. Doug will do that. Put all the details
Appreciate
up
it.
on the channel.
Appreciate it, fellas. I appreciate being a part of it, Andy. Appreciate it, Doug. Thanks very much for having me on here. If I can help or do anything in the future to help.
What's your podcast channel, Sam?
Yeah, it's called "It Ain't Weak to Speak" with Sam Webb, and you can
Yeah.
find that
Great.
on Spotify and iTunes and
Send me the link on social media, and I'll include it in this video.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. I'll do that straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, mate. Thanks, Sammy, and we'll
Thanks,
catch up
legend,
when you
mate.
get
Well, yeah,
back.
mate. I'll reach out to you when we're back in LA, man. Take care. Appreciate your help.
All right. See you, mate.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Ledge. See ya.
So everybody, I want to thank all of our guests for joining today. And everybody, whenever you have a chance, please check out my latest screenplay, Ray Guns of Kronos, War on Claudiusville, Part 1, The New Heroes.
The title's bigger than the book.
Yeah. The book is 715 pages long, so it's a long
Woo-hoo.
movie.
All righty.
All right.
Well, thanks, Doug.
Alrighty. Thank you all for
Thanks,
joining.
legends. Take care. Have a good day. Enjoy. Look after yourselves, boys, and practice a lot of self-care.
You too,
Thanks,
man.
mate.
And we'll
See you
see
later.
you next time on Being Relentless and Unstoppable.